You're listening to the Mind Medicine Prescription Podcast, the show for conscious entrepreneurs who are ready to learn how to think differently, dissolve their limiting beliefs and patterns, and create a body, business, and life they love. I'm your host, Kimberly Denise, your go-to coach and mentor for all things mindset, microdosing, and manifestation. Over the past 2 decades in doing this work, I've personally used these principles and practices to manifest my soulmate, to quit my full-time job to be a mom and do what I love, which is teach people just like you how to design the life of their dreams, all from the inside out. If you're here, it's because something inside of you is telling you that there's more to life than what you've been experiencing, and your soul is ready for a software update. Consider each of these episodes a potent dose of medicine for the mind, as well as practical steps to take action on in your everyday experiences. I believe you came to the planet with a unique purpose and mission, and you're literally a frequency shift away from manifesting the life you've been seeing in your imagination. So get ready, because this could be the episode that changes everything for you. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome back, soul friends and family. Kimberly Denise here. In today's episode, I have an encore presentation of a previously recorded episode that Shawal and I recorded about 2 years ago, talking about a bad trip that he had with one of his DMT ceremonies. And we wanted to share this episode because we feel that so many people can gain a lot of value and a new perspective around how to look at, how to perceive, and how to process these difficult journeys that we can all experience, whether you are working with DMT or you're working with mushrooms or whatever substance or plant medicine you might be working with. When you have a challenging experience, it's very important to have the right mentality around reviewing the experience and taking away the lessons that spirit and source and the universe or God or whoever you subscribe to has for you, because every single journey gives you what you need. And it's very important, though, as you'll be able to tell from this episode and Shawal's story, that you have some kind of guidance. You have some kind of external guidance, whether it's from a friend. It's best if this is an experienced friend, an experienced journeyer, or you reach out and you get a coach, or you have a mentor, or someone that can help you to break down and reflect properly and integrate what it was that you experienced, right? Because the last thing that you want is to go through a difficult or challenging experience and allow it to traumatize you, right? It's all about the way that we look at things. It's all about the way that we process and perceive, right? And the meaning that we give to what we experienced, what we saw, what sensations we had, right? So going into this episode, I hope you take a lot of value away and you're able to apply to your personal journeys, whether you've had a difficult experience or, you keep this in your arsenal, your value closet for when hopefully you don't have any challenging experiences in the future, but none of us are immune to them. So if you do, hopefully you can remember some of these takeaways from this episode. And without further ado, here we go. Hello, amazing genius. Welcome back to the podcast. Kimberly Denise here. So in this episode, I'm bringing back the love of my life, Shawal Banyamian. I'm bringing him back on to have a really deep conversation about one of his plant medicine experiences that I think everyone listening will get a lot of value out of. One of the most important things to realize about the plant or earth medicine experience, because mushrooms are not plants, they're a fungi, so they don't fall under the category of plants. So if we use earth medicine as an umbrella, it encompasses plants and fungi. But with earth medicine, it's important to realize that one of the most important components of the experience is what happens after the experience and how you integrate and digest the experience that you had into your everyday life, into your family, into your career. And so he's had a unique experience that he's experienced on his own. I was there with him to get a little bit of the takeaway, but he's going to explain in detail what the experience was and just how over the past, how many years was it?
7 years.
The past 7 years that there has been a message for his soul. Some would say from his higher self. You could say from God. You could say from the Creator. You could say from his soul to his soul on which direction he needs to go in his life and just how that's making a difference in who he is today and how it's made a difference in his life and himself as a family man, a businessman, and a plant medicine advocate. But I'm going to turn it over to him so we can have this discussion on just how important integration is. Shawal, I'm going to give you the mic.
Yeah, thanks, babe. You're the love of my life, too. And thank you for those that are watching right now. Once again, Shawal Banyamiyan, formerly known as Paul Gardner. Now, some of you might be like, why do you have two names? Why are you in this podcast right now? What message do you have for me that's relevant to my life? I'm here to tell you, my friend, that I used to run from my shadow. I used to run from the darkness. I used to run from my past and childhood traumas and generational traumas of my ancestors, that I hid them. I put them underneath the blanket, per se, and I put them in the closet to never really discover or shine a light on them. And I hid them well. I hid them in my obsession with skateboarding. I hid them in my obsession with mixed martial arts. I even hid them in my obsession with former drug abuse. I hid them in my obsession to the addictions that I had to pornography and to women and to extreme lust and extreme desires, and also violence. Because of that violence, leaving a chronic PTSD problem that I was hiding well also in the business world. When I discovered internet marketing in 2012, I started working 12 to 18 hours a day like a madman, thinking that somehow the pain would be mended away, that somehow that just working only practically with no soul and spirit in place guiding me into righteousness is the only way. And I was blinded by my pain. I don't know if you've been in a lot of pain in your life, my friend. I don't know if you've experienced trauma like I have, but if you're a human being, most likely you have, because being a human being and in this incarnation is traumatic in it of itself, is it not? Because being born and thrusted into this reality from a sperm all the way up into a human being who feels pain and agony and suffering, that is not an easy thing to do for anybody to go through. And I think that that's the reason why babies cry. Anywho, back to the story. And in 2015, when I made that entheogenic decision, that plant medicine decision, when I made the decision to reconnect to the medicines of the earth, I didn't have a coach. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a true shaman. I didn't have the people around me who have already stood the test of time, standed before the refiner's fire, stood before the oversoul in the monad or the most high, and was able to receive the direct messages as a consulting line. I did not have that, so therefore I had to rely on my own integration and my own personal reference experiences, which was not good enough, because without the true guidance and without proper support and help, you end up going down a downward spiral where you mislead yourself because your ego blocks your truth from spreading forward. Although I believe that we are always being guided, even in the mistakes that we make, ultimately to return back to our true self and source. It would have saved me literally 7 years of pain and agony if I just integrated myself properly. Uh, Several times over when I was doing plant medicine in 2015. I believe in 2016 I went over to my another shaman's house again, and I had a DMT experience. And in that DMT experience, I had a lot of baggage on me. I had a lot of failed relationships on me. I had businesses and people that were not satisfied with me, not realizing that they were not satisfied with themselves. But I just happened to be an outlet. I happen to be a vessel of blame for the failed community networkings and the partnerships that was formed in times past. I don't know if you've ever had customer complaints before. I don't know if you ever had people in your life leave you, or relationships broken, or any kind of negative experience like this. But that was weighing down hard on me. And in 2016, when I went and did plant medicine again, and I experienced the DMT state, I was basically in a place where I was not at my highest self. I was in the middle ground. I was in limbo per se. I was not anywhere. I was nowhere, and I needed clarity and I needed guidance. And little did I know that that terrible DMT experience. I'm kind of ranting right now, but little did I know that terrible DMT experience was actually for the good. And what was once terrible was actually the most wisdom that I could have ever gathered. But it took 7 years to integrate that. If I had coaching, if I had mentorship, if I had proper guidance and support in my mind, body, and heart and soul essence was really just invested into myself, into my soul, and allowed myself to heal and allow myself to heal from the traumas, I would have gained clarity and insight that would have saved me a lot of time, money, and energy, and a lot of pain. So I can go deep into what happened in the experience particularly, but that's my feedback right now.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and then I want to, interject my input as well, because I was here, witnessing these things alongside you. Now, I do recall right around that same time, I don't really know if it was before or after, but we had our aura photos taken of us. I want to say it was before. And you remember that both of ours were like very red, very orange, almost getting into yellow, but mainly like red and orange. And, we didn't have too much knowledge about energy
Mine was
back
more
then.
red.
More red, right?
Yeah, red and
Which, for those of you who
white.
are not
It was like red and
knowledgeable,
white.
the red is the color of our root chakra. That's the chakra and the energy center, the swirling vortex that's invisible to the human eye, but it exists because it can be photographed through various Kirlian photographies or whatever type of photographies.
It's the soul.
But it's just one chakra that we have, but it's the root chakra. It's what grounds us here into physical 3D reality, but it can be out of balance to where if we're operating from that center too much, or it's in overdrive, or it's the energy's not harnessed and honed in, we can find ourselves in addictions. We can find ourselves in things that the lust of the flesh, a lot of people call, or have unhealthy habits, eating habits, addictions, like all these things. They all come from my understanding, from that energy point of some kind of an imbalance or some kind of an overdrive. So I wanted to throw that in there because I found that very interesting, right? That it was before you had this experience and your latter DMT experiences as well, which we personally believe, and a lot of other people believe in it, have experienced this too, is that, with intentional plant medicine ceremonies and then the proper integration as well, and lifestyle changes, you can balance your chakras, activate your chakras, and do it in a safer way where you become balanced as a person. So I wanted to interject that in there. But do you want to go into a little bit what you remember in regards to the experience itself, to kind of give people a visual of what you experienced, and then I'll come in with the insights that we've both had about it together to help you to, and the listeners fully understand like how you can extract value out of these type of scary experience, terrifying experiences that people might call like a bad trip, or they might say that it's a horrible experience.
Yeah, so the depthness of your subconscious mind, the true self, the oversoul, is the most frightening, terrifying power that you can imagine, because it's all your most wicked imaginations come into life in lower dimensional realms, lower dimensional entities. When I had smoked the DMT, I had a problem. I was smoking it incorrectly. I had smoked way too much directly the pipe. And because of that, I inhaled so much smoke into the lungs that I started coughing uncontrollably. And because I was getting anxiety and a panic attack from the uncontrollable coughing as I was going into that DMT trip, can you imagine for a moment how insane that actually is? Imagine just you're losing your ability to breathe because you're unable to breathe because of the smoke in your lungs, and you're coughing a storm all while you're going down a portal and a black hole of doom, and your just soul is just sliding down to what feels like hell. And that's exactly what was happening, because what was happening on the outside was happening from the inside. And really, I was going through hell because I was living my life in a hellish mentality and also in a hellish behavior. I went down what seemed to me to be a portal to hell where an entity came, a lower dimensional entity came and started choking the heck out of my neck with his hands. And it reminded me of my mixed martial arts fights that I had, where I was losing MMA fights because of submission holds. And it like brought me back to my MMA fight or flight response. I started trying to fight this entity in my mind. Of course, this is not happening in physicality, or it was happening in the astral realm. But my physical body was just completely paralyzed. And as I started to fight back, like my ego wanted to fight back, all like trillions of like demons just decided to just come out of nowhere from like this underworld that I was in and just start destroying my soul and tearing me apart and just devouring me and biting me and just completely just destroying me from the inside. And as the consciousness that I am, I said, why is this happening to me? And immediately as I asked that question, another voice said, because you are a very hurt soul. And then instantly, like 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 wind just coming out of nowhere, I instantly knew what my problem was. Is that all I wanted was love my whole entire life. I was looking for love, the most high, in all the wrong places. I was looking to feel loved because of the lack of love that I experienced growing up, because of the lack of love that I experienced in the communities that I was a part of. I've had to toughen myself up and develop a stony heart and a cold heart against others, which then reflected in my business where I couldn't get past a certain point with people because I didn't trust people. I didn't trust myself. I actually just didn't know myself. And because I didn't know myself, I didn't know others, and therefore I couldn't lead them long term. See, I know the mistakes of the past because I've made a lot of money. And when you make a lot of money and you do it with trauma, you lose that money if you don't address it. And I hid from addressing my childhood traumas and my generational traumas. I'm still healing from them to this very day. The healing never ends. There will be a time where we reach our highest, truest self, but I don't believe that people can be truly healed until we are out of this incarnated body, until we are at our glorious body, the rainbow body, the same body that every ancient spiritual text has talked about. When the Kundalini rises and the seven chakras activate, they activate the infinite chakra system, the Metatron's cube, the Merkaba, and they allow you to travel the multidimensional realms and allow you to live life according to the will of the Most High. People are suffering on the planet. 99% of people are suffering on the planet because they don't have connection to their souls, because they don't know what the soul is. They don't even know that they have a soul. Their pineal gland has been completely hijacked and it's calcified from the fluorides and the GMOs, and the indoctrination just puts you into a repetitive cycle of fight or flight. Every system is designed to do this, and that's what plant medicine and entheogens woke me up to. And now I'm living a life where I'm clear on my mission. I'm clear on how I can help others. I'm clear on how I can help bring change to a world full of darkness by simply shining a light.
That's so powerful. So I wanted to bring up one of the, because when I speak to people and from the many journeys that I've heard, because you have your own personal experience, but then you can also learn a lot through listening to the stories of others and the experiences of others and what they took away with it, and also learning a bit about dream time and what dreams are and how they're a tool for our consciousness that can serve us here in this reality. There's so much symbolism in our psyche in every state that we're in, whether we're in a waking state. Some people call it, when they see signs, symbols, angels, numbers, all these various synchronicities, that you might call it a synchronicity when you're awake. That's symbolism. A lot of people, the ancients, the probably the ancient Egyptians, I know for sure, the various Native American peoples and original peoples, they believed that animals held symbolisms as well, and there's medicine in the wisdom of animals, things like that. And when we're dreaming, most things are symbolism too. Like if you have a weird dream about water, or like sometimes I remember several times in my lifetime having weird dreams where I could breathe underwater, like weird stuff like that. Or you dream about this same like doorway or bridge or whatever it is. Our mind uses these things as symbols. And if you study into symbolisms, you can kind of decode and figure out what is your higher self, what's God, what is your soul trying to teach you through the form of a dream. Well, earth medicines have operate in the same way, I believe, that everything that's happening in that scenario that you're experiencing, you're seeing, you might feel like you're feeling it sometimes. All of the sensations, it's all happening in your mind. It's all happening within you, within your consciousness. And it's happening in a way that can represent something to teach you something in your life. So, something that I first identified, I think it was either today or yesterday when you were speaking about it again, was just the scenario that was happening, that you were being choked out, that it was just such a cloud of violence. And most recently, you know, we had been on a pursuit to pursue this career, this professional MMA career. And, our whole family mission and goal from 2016 up till maybe just even last year at this time was, Shawal is going to be in the UFC. We're willing to make the sacrifices necessary to, we've traveled all over the US to various gyms and invested into the training that you needed and the exposure that you needed and the matches that you've needed in regards to like training with the highest quality people. And, we've been on that trajectory. But then when we kind of woke up to like what UFC is and what MMA is, truly not martial arts, but like mixed martial arts where there's impact to the brain, there's impact to the head, there's impact, there's damage done, and yes, it's agreed upon the two parties. But you've come to the realization that, perhaps that isn't the path that the highest version of yourself wants you to take. And so we look back at that experience now that you witnessed. And I said, man, if you had had a coach or a mentor, somebody with plant medicine experience that could have helped you with the integration process, perhaps within a few weeks or a few months, even, you could have had that realization of, oh, wow, this pathway that I'm on, it truly is a pathway of violence. And it's a pathway that's not going to help me grow in the long term. Maybe financially, the best thing that could have came out of it was some kind of small temporary financial gain. But as far as growing your soul, growing the true mission of helping to humanity to ascend, yourself to ascend, your family, you could have had that realization a lot early on that like, okay, that's not the direction we're supposed to be going in, or that's not the ideal. I mean, everything's a choice, right? You can choose any path. You can choose a path of doing nothing at all and just ride this life out till you're gone. You can make the decision to go after it and become all you can be and evolve as far and as high and as wide as you want to, right? Or you can just kind of like play it safe your whole life too. It's all a choice. But I wanted to ask you, what are your deepest realizations? What is the experience? And we'll talk a little bit about our higher self healing journey, which is a coaching program, a group coaching program that we're opening the doors to. That person that's thinking like, I've worked with plant medicine, I've had plant medicine experiences, but I haven't really done too much integration. I really haven't got coaching, life coaching, spiritual coaching. I haven't really got the advice from any advisors on the experiences that I've had. And I would like to go into that experience again, but maybe have the guidance, have wisdom, have an advisory around me, and be in a community of people who can or are helping each other integrate their experiences so that they can create the life of their dreams, the business of their dreams, the reality of their dreams. What is the importance that you would pass on to that person that's considering making that decision?
Yeah, the importance is the behaviors of your everyday habits and the lifestyle that you create. The hyper focus that plant medicine and entheogens and our higher self healing coaching program will give you is like taking a light and darkness and then shining it like a laser and penetrating through on the most important things that matter. So many people are distracted by their day to day lives. I know myself included, being labeled bipolar and ADHD. I've had to increase my hyper focus and have a mental fortitude when it comes to getting things done. And so when it comes to the lifestyle change that you're looking for, the mental and spiritual and soul transformation that you're looking for, when it comes to the better health and the better marriages and the better relationships in your family that you're after, and the prosperity that you deserve by your birthright, by the fact that you even are alive. It's about realigning your energies to the harmonies of the universe, realizing that nature nurtures and it does not force. There's a divine timing to your blessings, but there's also a closed window or a small window of opportunity for you to take advantage of those blessings, because you're hearing about the higher self healing journey and you're in a position where you're making a decision. You might find the offer at the current price of what it is right now, which I believe is $199 per month. And what you have to do is make that decision to commit to your soul path, commit to your mental healing, emotional healing, commit to being transparent with yourself, your family, your community. Help them grow by recognizing yourself and others and realizing that there are no others. So that the benefit for you to make that decision to come into the higher self healing is you finally allowing yourself to love yourself, maybe for the first time. Maybe you were like me, where you had so much self-hatred. Maybe you were like me, where you didn't believe you were worthy of love, and you didn't believe that you were worthy of prosperity or the blessings or abundance. Well, I'm here to tell you, my friend, nature disagrees with you. Nature says you're worthy of it all. The universe says you are loved beyond words from higher angelic realms. This is a fact. So if you don't have any human being that loves you or shows you any kind of love, Earth loves you, the universe loves you, the Father, God, Spirit loves you, the Mother Universe loves you. I love you.
I love that. I love that you love people so much. So, yeah, you mentioned nature. Like, our nature is abundant and is abundance. Like, when you look around in nature, you can see clearly. You can see how things are designed and how things are supposed to be. And I don't think that I have to coerce you to think that we're living in this 3D reality. We're living in like a crazy time right now where there's a lot of chaos, right? There's a lot of chaos going on in certain groups of people that want to just keep their control over all of us and over humanity. There's all kinds of schemes going on in various aspects of the world and our food supply and in the water and in the air, and just all of these attacks on what it is consciousness. And I've said it before and heard many people say this too, is that, we are in a third world war, but it's a war. Yes, it's a spiritual war. It's a war on consciousness. And so our responsibility as we come to that awareness is that, oh, if I'm in a war on consciousness, then my deepest purpose right now is to grow my consciousness, is to invest in the growth of my consciousness, whether that's here with us or anybody else. Like, it's just in general, you need to make that a priority. And what we're so excited to do is to give people a place, a community, a safe space, and an environment and connection, right, with mentors to help people do what we were unable to do. Sort through these crazy experiences, sort through these deep pains, sort through these traumatic experiences that we had as children that are now coming to the surface. It's not just a TikTok trend that people are talking about healing their inner child, and that people are talking about sorting through their trauma and their pain. We're looking at a world that's the result of not having an infrastructure in place to help people overcome trauma, to help people heal trauma, or to help people live in a way where they don't even create those traumatic experiences for themselves, for their children. And the guaranteed thing is that if you come to the door of being able to face and heal yourself, you never open that door, the guarantee is that you will pass that on to your generations. The good news is, if you do open the door and you choose to walk through, and you're saying, I'm going to say yes to my healing, I'm going to say yes to the uncertainty or the fear, because I know on the other side is a better life. I know on the other side we can and will affect the next 7 generations in a positive way. What does that mean? If you want to leave the earth a better place for your children, if you have them, for your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, if you want to think ahead and actually leave something better behind, because I don't think any of us would want to leave this earth to our children right now in the state that it's in the state of exploitation, in the state of the animals being abused, in the state of just human beings being terribly treated as well by each other, and thinking that everyone is separate and segregating and separating each other and just keeping everything separate. We would not want to leave this earth to our children, would we? No, I don't think that we would. I think you're probably in agreement with that. So if you agree with that, then you also have to agree that your healing needs to be a priority. And so this is just an option for you. Like I said, whether it's us or anyone else, we're creating this space, we're creating this community, we're creating this environment where people can come and share their experiences. People can learn about the medicine, specifically the mushroom, learn how it's utilized in various ways through microdosing or taking journeys, and to ultimately heal yourself and to get the healing that you need, but to expand your consciousness as well and to integrate that intentionally into your life to create the life that you're desiring. This channel is all about manifestation, creating your life as a parent, as a conscious parent, as somebody who wants to leave a better world for the children. And so that's a part of our vision, is helping empower people to do just that. So I hope that you've taken some notes. I hope that you want to go back and listen to this a second time to gather the lessons that you may have left behind. And as always, share with somebody who you love, who you care about, that might take value away from this episode. We believe in your infinite potential. We will see you on the inside of the Higher Self Healing Program. Take care. Thank you for listening to another episode. If you're somebody that's looking for a supportive community, if you're somebody who's looking for mentoring and coaching on your microdosing journey, if you're someone who's looking for information and education and looking to become informed before you start your microdosing journey, if you're someone who is looking to take your business to new heights and you just have a feeling that integrating a microdosing protocol into your life is going to help you to take your business to new levels and bring a new aspect of purpose and impact in your business, then head over to microdosingmonthly.com to learn more about our Higher Self Healing Journey program. You can also find these links and other resources in the description area of this podcast. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. During our discussion, we mentioned the Higher Self Healing Group Coaching Program, which was a project that we were working on in 2022. Well, it's 2024 now, and we've got something brand new and exciting that we are rolling out. I don't know when you're listening to this episode. I'm recording this edit today. I believe it is the 11th, August 11th. But on August 15th, so the 15th through the 22nd, enrollment is going to be open for our Quetzalcoatl Ascension community and membership. It's also a subscription, monthly subscription. So if you are somebody who is looking to tap in, to tune in with like-minded and light-minded people who are on the entheogen path, people who are working with plant medicines, people who are working with mushroom medicine in various doses, whether you're on a microdosing journey or you're wanting to prepare yourself for your first macrodosing or shamanic ceremony, wherever you might be on the path, we are creating a community to help people to learn more about this path, to get more out of their journey, and specifically to work on rewiring and reprogramming the brain so that you can experience long-lasting, long-term changes and transformations that actually last, because that is one of the primary benefits that you can get from working with mushrooms when you have the correct and an intentional integration pathway, which is exactly what we are going to be teaching you inside of this community. Aside from that, we're going to be offering so many different facets of support, of connection. There's going to be live calls, there's going to be events, there's going to be raffles and contests and just so many different things. So if you're somebody out there, if you were like anything like us, when we first started on this path, we felt it really was it felt lonely and isolating. We were the only people that we knew that were working with these medicines. Our family thought that we were on drugs, and, we had people on social media judging us for what we were doing. And it can feel like you're alone and that you're the only one in your world that is doing this, right? So what we want to do is we want to provide a place where people can come and relate to one another, and I know a lot of you are in the quote unquote psychedelic closet, right? Not a lot of your friends or family even know what you're doing, right? And it's not healthy to just keep it all inside and keep it all to yourself, right? So we want to create this place where it's going to grow and it's going to evolve, but we just have so many things planned. To learn more about it, there's a link below, either to get on the wait list so that you can get all of the updates, and then get the link to a free masterclass that we're releasing on Thursday the 15th at noon Central Time. So you're going to be able to learn exactly how this medicine has changed our life, what are the different transformations and changes that we've been able to experience, how mushrooms work with the brain to create lasting change and transformation, and then specifically how to design an intentional integration pathway so that you can go out and design a lifestyle where you're going to actually create change in your life, no matter what area it is, if it's health and wellness, if it's money, if it's career, if it's your relationships, if it's healing, whatever it might be, spirituality. You're going to be able to go out and apply these steps to see actual real lasting change in your life. And so you'll be able to tune in to that training on the 15th, or there might also be just a direct link to the training. So I don't know when you're watching this, but go ahead and scroll down to the show notes, or if you're on YouTube, scroll down to the description below, click one of the links, get on the list, or tune into the training, and we hope to see you inside the community.